EA SPORTS WRC just received its first patch, bringing it to version 1.3, with this patch addressing some of the issues such as stutter, game crashes, and a bit of housekeeping with the game. It's nice that EA Codemasters are updating the game and working on it, especially given the infantile, premature state that this title is in or has launched in. Now, the update I found did seem to address stuttering issues in single player for me. Frame rate performance, I can't really say. The game just seems to be running pretty much the same as it was before. And the other aspects all seem pretty subtle. We didn't have any game crashes or anything since this update. So, you know, I guess it is a little bit of an improvement. Now, in order to test the update, we not only did some single player stuff to see that the single player didn't have the stutters anymore, but we also tested the online whilst we were live streaming, doing our own online rally. And we hadn't actually tested online before I did the review video. We hadn't done any online, which is probably a good thing, because even after the patch, the online is an absolute farce. From the menu system that looks like it's from a early 2000s Wii title with very limited options and a ridiculous not being able to create a session with a password on it. You're having a choice of a public session or a private session where you just have to manually invite people in, or it's totally open, which is just crazy. It's 2023, guys. You can do rallies that you can invite people into separately using their online system, but if you're using the in-game basic multiplayer system, the options are so limited, it's absurd. But putting that to one side, the stutter, this is after the patch, and the pausing that you get in multiplayer is ridiculous. Every time people join and leave the game that you're in, the session, it pauses. And when it pauses, you lose force feedback and you lose input, and the car engine sounds like a robot that needs a lot of oil on it, and it all like messes up. And these pauses can be for like a fraction of a second to almost a second. You can see them occurring in the video here, and they literally cause you to crash. They certainly affect your driving. I mean, this is probably one of the most accurate simulations of someone that's blacking out whilst driving and then coming to consciousness repeatedly through a rally stage. Maybe a really old rally driver that's driven into far too many trees. Maybe that's what it's trying to simulate. And to be quite honest, it is just not acceptable for a £40, it's even a £50 game, a $50 game, effectively a AAA title, to release in this state with a core mode, the multiplayer, being fundamentally broken. Also, keep in mind the single player, the AI bugged out so that the AI would get 0 scores on stages, and then even if you beat them all through the game, they would then end up beating you, ruining your single player experience. Also, keep in mind the difficulties all over the place. So basically, the single player as a game, fundamentally broken, and the multiplayer as a game, fundamentally broken. To release a title like with those issues is insane. Almost more insane is the fact that there have been a lot of reviews of this game with people giving it 7 or 8 out of 10. I can't think of another video game that's released where the single player is categorically broken. We're talking, imagine if the AI just didn't shoot at you in a single player game, or you couldn't go through a certain level because it was blocked, or the game kept pausing. That would just not be acceptable in any other video game. I don't know why a rally game or driving game would get a free pass for being this broken. And then on the multiplayer side, can you imagine any first-person shooter where it just pauses constantly? Well, I mean, hell, Let Loose does do that occasionally. Again, Unreal Engine, good job, Epic, with your shader caching or whatever's going on when it loads stuff in. That's fantastic, having the game pause. But I mean, it's absolutely absurd. So in my original review, I said I thought it was worth getting because I think driving a rally car, the handling in this, the force feedback is actually quite nice, sound is great, and driving a rally car, even if you ignore the issues of single player and the structure of it, driving a car through the countryside quickly with pace notes is a fun process. Moving a 3D object through an environment, regardless of that environment, regardless of all the other stuff, it is just going to be fun, generally speaking. So that kind of makes you want to go, oh, okay, we'll give it a bit of a pass. But given how broken the single player is after spending more time on it, given how broken the multiplayer is, I really think Sure, some people will still enjoy it. Sure, some people will get 40, 50 pounds worth of enjoyment out of whatever they do. But it's so broken. I would just say this game needs 6 months. 6 months of development. And the more I play it, the more it does seem to me like this game has absolutely been pushed out utterly prematurely. Probably, I would imagine, as a guess, I don't know, this might not be the case, but as a pure guess, probably because they had some contractual obligation to get it out before maybe the rally season finished or something. But I don't know. I think the amount that this is broken is actually just depressing. It's just depressing. And it's a shame, because if the multiplayer, especially, if it didn't have these huge pauses, it could be actually quite fun to play through, you know, with other people, trying to beat them with your own rallies that you set up. That would be quite fun. I think if you do the club stuff where you're not having to directly host the session with other cars, you're not going to have the people joining and leaving, you're not going to get the stutter, so that might be the only option for those of you that want to do rallies with other people and get the most out of it. But basically, the only way to really think of this title at this point in time is that it's an early access title sold at a AAA game price. £40 for an early access title that definitely needs 6 to 8 months of development, and then I think it might be reasonable. Now, as I said in the live stream, the annoying thing is, I guarantee you, and mark my words on this, we can check this back in the future, we can go back in time to this video, I guarantee you, because they will keep working on this, they've got the license for the next few years, with this being in the state that it is now, when they do updates to this, rather than people going, no, actually, that's just really terrible, people will go, oh, wow, they've worked so hard on improving it and they've done so good. And when the the 2024 version of this, if they do a yearly release, comes out, I guarantee you reviewers and people will go, wow, they've really built on what was a rocky launch for the first launch of it. You know, it was a problematic launch, but oh, they've polished the single player, it's not as buggy, you know, they've basically, if they do the 24 version of the game, which is in a way where it should have been what this should be, i.e. basically as good as Dirt 2 was, people will be absolutely lauding it, and they'll be contrasting it with this to then justify that the next version of the game is somehow really good because it's not as bad as this version. I'm guaranteeing you that that's going to happen, but you know, at the end of the day, I would like to see this get better. I do want them to develop it, I do want them to improve it, and I think they will probably improve it, and I know the developers will be working hard on it. My ire is not aimed at the developers, because they'll be working as bloody hard as they possibly can. They're probably being crunched now even more after launching the game and to get it out, and then have to do patches and then hot fixes and everything. I'm not annoyed at the actual people doing the work, but the state of the games industry and publishers and what they feel they can get away with, that is really frustrating. And even more frustrating is the reviewers, some YouTubers, lots of review sites, and the absolute weird game shills that you find defending the state that this game is in. It's like, guys, do you realise it's not in your interest for games to be this bad and you to just accept it? At least whinge. I mean, ideally, don't buy the game, wait till it's polished, but if you're going to buy it, at least be as vocal as possible to let developers know that it's stupid. I mean, defending it is bizarre. But anyway, that's where we are with the games industry. This patch, great, well, it's something, isn't it? Good that they've reduced stutter a bit in single player. I don't know if they fixed the AI. Hopefully they have. I can't really know until we do more career mode to really see. But yeah, what a shambles! What a shambolic! I'm gonna need like a 3-kilogram bag of Yorkshire tea to smash over my forehead as a rally fan. And as you know, it's like they've got a license here. I'm a big rally fan. I've not got high expectations. They don't need to even make this better than Dirt Rally 2 or better than Richard Burns Rally or better than WRC Generations or whatever. They need to make it better, but it should at least release and then be patched in a way that lets you play the basic multiplayer and single player of the game at launch for a £40 game. Anyway, that's my therapy session over. I don't know if you guys agree with me in the comments, if you think I'm overreacting here. I'm talking about this, as I say, from the perspective of a big rally fan and someone that also just likes good games, even arcade games. It doesn't matter. I'm not like a sim snob or anything. Yeah, anyway, right, that's it. Enough whinging. Oh dear. What? Thanks for watching this, guys. Happy tea drinking, despair-filled tea drinking. Thanks for subscribing, thanks for clicking the like button. Till the next one, take care and goodbye.